Hello dwellers of the internet, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about spicy food and the effects that it has on people. Myself specifically, this topic was kind of thought up spur of the moment. I didn't really have a plan for it. I mean, most of the topics for this continuous series have been thought of spur of the moment kind of thing, but this was thought of almost immediately a minute ago, if that. Because I'm sitting here eating this spicy Slim Jim. It's a hot version of it. There's about a million different versions of hot Slim Jims and original Slim Jims. There's tons and tons of variations. If you go to the nearest 7-Eleven or supermarket or wherever they sell Slim Jims, and there's a section for the Slim Jims, just like chips, you will see 1,000 different variations of them. And a lot of different brands as well, but as far as Slim Jims are concerned, you will probably only see the Squatch brand and the original Slim Jim brand advocated the most for. Anyways, I thought about this topic of spicy food reactions because I'm eating this hot version of the original Slim Jim, one of the variations of the hot ones, because they have flamin' hot, they have extra hot, all kinds of different labels they've attached to different concocted hot versions for the Slim Jim. And I'm eating it and it's fucking delicious. And I'm getting a reaction to it. Because of the Scoville units, it's the capsaicin activation, I believe, in the brain and in the body. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it produces a high, and it produces a kind of euphoria. It influences a mental state, which is why I thought it would be also appropriate for this show, considering that I've talked about different mental states prior, whether they're induced by alcohol or anything else, and definitely spicy food is one of them that contributes and influences thought patterns and the direction of your thinking, and puts you in a certain state in which you can appreciate different things, and I definitely feel like an adrenaline rush is going on when I eat this Slim Jim, because it's not the hottest that I could ever handle. I am sort of on a mini quest to eat things that are higher and higher in Scoville units until I can get to a certain point at which I can attempt the Carolina Reaper challenge. That might be, a plan for a future video at some point, just because I thought it would be fun. I mean, not to keep up with internet trends or anything, but just because of the simple fact that I like the spice and the feeling of my tongue, going numb, and not to be confused with the tongue bleeding, as I have mentioned in a previous Jawbreaker video. That's unappealing as all hell. What is appealing is when you're eating something spicy and you could feel the reactions that are generated within your body and mind. And whenever I eat something hot, I can feel it. I can feel my body start to sweat. I can feel my mouth start to absorb the heat, and I feel the pain. But it's the thing about eating spicy shit is that it's not just a direct pain, it's a mixture of pleasure and pain. What it ultimately is a sensation that can be interpreted as either pleasure or pain, and it gets sort of discombobulated when it's processed by the mind. It's sort of the same, or not the same, but a similar reaction to when you're feeling something so cold, like let's say you touch your hands to ice in the middle of Antarctica, and you feel the ice and it's so cold that it's burning you. You start to feel that sensation of burning, or what you can only describe to be burning, because that's the closest relation you have to compare the pain to, because it starts becoming not just a difference in temperature sensation, but a sensation that's causing physical ache, and a specific kind of physical ache, triggering your nerve endings and whatnot. I think it's similar to that because it's not pleasure or pain. It's just a reaction that's generated when you eat spicy shit, whether it be, cayenne peppers, habaneros, whatever it is that is hot to you. For you lightweights out there, maybe you eat a couple of jalapenos and you're like, oh, this is doing something to me. I'm beyond the point to where that does something to me significantly. Sriracha and jalapenos and salsa verde have all become easily digestible and simply tasty snacks to, mix with food of mine to help me appreciate the, more of the taste aspect accompanied with the heat that it generates. And if I want to get a little bit hotter than that, there are specific salsas that I will seek out. One of them custom made by my father, who creates these salsa. He has his own unique blend for salsa, and he specifically makes it hot, which is beyond the heat of the other salsas and spices that I've just listed. But it's still delicious. It's the best salsa I've ever had. I would assume. As far as I can remember, yeah, definitely, that is the best salsa I've ever had. And it has a significant amount of heat to it. And he can make it with varying degrees of heat. He uses very hot peppers. It's around the level of cayenne peppers, I believe. Now, don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure. But it's a significant amount of Scovilles, beyond the norm. And I've gotten to about that point, and me sitting here eating this hot Slim Jim, sweating my ass off, is just reminding me of the good taste that it produces and the positive experiences that I'm having because of it. That will eventually lead up to challenges such as, maybe eating a habanero first and then eating multiple habaneros and, just observing reactions and whatnot. And, plenty of people on YouTube do that. I'm not exactly trying to be unique. The only reason why I would do that is for fun, and quite literally just for fun, because simply, I enjoy the effect that heat in food produces for me, which, if I could get back to what I was saying earlier, is contradictory and ironic to my behavior as a child. I didn't like, or I didn't, not only did I not like food that was hot or any kind of added spice to any kind of food. I was a very picky eater as a child, as many of us are, but I strategically avoided hot food. Anytime I would ever be offered a jalapeno or anything that could have the most remote amount of heat, I would automatically say no, because I didn't want to feel that pain. And, I don't know, something changes within it's true what they say, your taste buds change as you get older, and you start acquiring different tastes, and, this starts to lead into the development of taste mentally and physically. Not just that your taste buds change, but your opinions of the taste that you're recognizing from childhood might very well change, just because you're either associating them with different experiences that you're having at the moment. Maybe you're eating something that you wouldn't have liked before, but you happen to be very hungry at the time, and it changes your perception of how you consume that particular thing. Like, that's my explanation for why I now like onions. When I was a kid, up until about 15 years old, I would have told you straight-faced, I hate onions. And I did. And I would have told you that I never would want to eat them ever in my life, and I probably never will, and that would have been an honest statement and a true answer from me if you asked me if I liked onions. But as soon as I hit the age of 15, I came home from wrestling practice one day, and I had not eaten all day. If you know anything about wrestling, you know that oftentimes you have to cut weight in order to prepare for tournaments and to manage your body weight to be within the classification of your weight class so that you can be prepared for battle. You know, whenever it is you're going to be in a duel, or right before the tournament, you have to make sure that you're managing your weight, which is a difficult aspect to the sport. You know, it's something integral to it. But regardless, point I was trying to make is that I had been doing this for multiple days, and I was starving one day, and I think it was I was returning from practice, and I remember weighing myself at the practice, and I think I calculated, because after a while you start to calculate how much you can eat, and how much weight you actually will gain from eating said from eating certain types of foods, and drinking a certain amount of liquids. You start to calculate how many ounces you're going to gain fully, because it starts to become second nature once you get into really understanding your body, which is a byproduct of being in wrestling, is just you monitoring your body and your weight so much that you realize exactly how fast you can digest certain foods, and how much weight exactly is lost upon digestion, and how much you can afford to eat in how much time before a tournament, or before a duel, or before you need to be under a certain amount of weight. And you do this extremely accurately and skillfully after a really short amount of time, because you start to not be able to eat when you're hungry, and that causes some serious attention to detail when it comes to weight management. And I was fucking starving this day, so I came home, and I knew from weighing myself that I could eat like a full-on fast food meal and it would be fine. My father or somebody ended up getting I think it was Jack in the Box. No, God, I don't remember. Some fast food restaurant they had gone, and they had gotten food for us. In-N-Out. Yeah, it was definitely In-N-Out. And they ordered my burger with onions. I don't know why. I don't know how. Orders got, mixed up and crossed over, just, for a lack of an attention to detail, I suppose. I'm not exactly sure how that happened, because anybody who knew me, especially my parents, knew that I detested onions, but somehow onions ended up on my burger. And I didn't care. I didn't ask if there were onions on it. I just assumed there wasn't. And I saw the burger, and I looked at it, and I was like, yeah, there's onions on it. I was not in the mood to sit there and pick apart the shit that I didn't like off of my burger. I was hungry, so I decided just to slam into that burger and take a bite, no matter what the fuck was on it, like onions, tomato, special sauce. I didn't give a fuck. And it was delicious. And I tasted the taste of the onions specifically, and I had realized, wow, it's been so long since I've eaten onions that either I've forgotten the taste and have now sort of rediscovered what onions can taste like for me, or I am just so hungry that onions now taste good because my body is registering that I'm giving it sustenance, or it's been so long that my taste buds have changed to where I'm physically now more attracted to the taste of onions. And it could have been either one of those things, or a combination of all three. I'm not sure. But either way, this is exactly the point at which I started to love onions from the age of 15 onward, and I have not stopped loving them. I went from being on one side of the spectrum, completely hating onions, to completely loving them and wanting them on everything. Like, I will eat onions in a burrito, I will eat onions as a side dish. I've tried to take a bite of a raw onion before because I thought I might just get the taste of it, and I wanted to try it, and there happened to be no cooked onions at the time. I was just like, fuck it, and of course it was bad. It was a bad experience, but I still love them. I'll eat them on anything now. And this is the exact relationship that I maintain when it comes to spicy and hot food is that at a certain point in my life, I went from that side of the spectrum to I want to eat all the hot shit in the world, and I want to test my limits on how hot it can get before I can't take it anymore. Because not only do I like the rush of the heat and the endorphins that are produced when you're eating hot food, and the chemical reaction that takes place in your brain and body, but I just like the taste. I like the tastes that accompany salsa and spices and chili peppers and everything else. And funny thing is, I don't remember when I started to like it, and I don't remember when that transition occurred. I wish I could place it to a moment like I can with onions, but I just can't. I just know that somewhere along the line I've flipped from one side of the spectrum to the other with hot food, same as I did with onions. And that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Is I love spicy shit. This hot Slim Jim, I don't know what it's composed of. Probably a lot of different peppers and artificial foods and shit. It's probably it's terrible for your health, but I love the taste. And yeah, I guess along with this description of my appreciation for hot food, you guys also get insight into a possible future project. I might eat a Carolina Reaper or something at some point once I've worked up in heat enough to be able to tolerate it better. Or, one day maybe I'll just get a wild hair up my ass and order it without any kind of experience, and maybe that'll be more entertaining. So who knows? I don't know. It's a possible project, so maybe look forward to that. That's it. Spicy food is good. Eat it. Try new things, because even if you hate a certain type of food, you never know how you're going to respond to it at any given moment in time, because taste buds change, opinions and perspectives and mentally attributed effects to food change as you grow older, and experiences can always vary. So even if you hate something, maybe once in a while give it a chance anyway, even if you think you still hate it, because I have flip-flopped, and other people may too. Other people have, and you might. So that's it. Take it easy, guys.